Hello, this is Danielle Ramos, and today we're going to talk about the HEART framework. And really what we're going to focus on is a leadership perspective, and we're going to talk a little bit about why it's so hard for teams and P&T to grasp and implement the HEART metrics and what we can do about that. Now, first of all, let's remember why we're here. So in 2020, P&T named implementation of a product management framework one of the top P&T goals for the year. So let's look into that a little bit more. The objective is to implement a standard product management framework to consistently understand how our customers experience our products. And roll of the drum, the framework that was selected was the HEART framework by Google. So earlier this year, Gartner came in at P&T's request and did a 4-hour workshop on product management. And they came up with a few key takeaways that I wanted to share with you. One of them is products are defined by how they're consumed rather than how they're produced or the functionality they offer. So this is something that's a little different than the way we've thought about products in the past in P&T. Also, they talked about some role changes, and they said that product management requires mindset changes. And since all of you are in leadership, you understand that mindset changes are a little bit more difficult than implementing a new tool or process. They also said that there's going to be significant role rebalancing and that we should provide radical transparency into those role changes so that we can help people acquire the skills and the competencies that they'll need in order to step into one of the new roles. They also worked with leadership specifically on P&T and the path forward that they see. And roles that they feel are in decline include business analysts, project managers, and low-cost developers. They also talked about roles that we have that should be sustained, including enterprise architects and data architects. And then they talked about roles that we should grow, including full stack engineers, DevOps engineers, and product architects, also user experience designers and product managers. And then they talked about why are we doing all this anyway? And that's really to aid our digital transformation. And so they went further to talk about additional competencies that we need to become a really great digital business. And the first one of those is good business acumen. So not something that P&T is always focused on, so something we probably need to take more of a look at. Adaptability. P&T's always been adaptable, so probably a big green check mark there. Then we also have political savviness. All of you are in leadership, so you must have a level of political savviness to be in your role. But, this is really talking about kind of pushing some of this political savviness further into the rank and file in P&T. My favorite phrase of the day, fusion collaboration. So this is about developing the skill set and the desire to collaborate effectively with people from different perspectives and experiences, and I would add different skill sets. So P&T's really been focused on technology over the past few years. So now we need to look at things that are some other perspectives and skill sets that are not strictly focused on technology. And then also systems thinking. So everyone might think, okay, green check mark there because we build systems, but this is looking at the holistic view of systems. So this is looking at not just the software, but how the software supports the processes it was built to support and how the user experience comes in. So it's all of that combined together to create a full systems view. So everything I just talked about is adaptation. So it's not a technical change, it's an adaptive change. And as we just discussed, making adaptive or mindset changes is more difficult than a tool and process change. And in order to change the way that people think about things, you need to really engage both their hearts and their minds. All right, you guys, I got to throw in a little bit of change psychology here. So here are the 4 rooms of change. We have contentment, denial, confusion, and renewal. And we all start out in the room of contentment where we're good, we like the way things are going, we know where we fit, and we're safe, happy, and relaxed. And then change comes up. I figure out that I'm not in control of everything that I thought I was in control of, and I'm feeling uncomfortable, unhappy, resistant to the change, and kind of nervous about what it might mean to me. But I figure if I just close my eyes, it'll go away and I won't have to deal with it. Didn't go away. Now I'm confused. I don't know where my place is anymore. I don't know where to go for help. I'm unsure. I'm a little curious though, because hey, this room of confusion is where the magic happens, because it is so uncomfortable to be here that people are willing to take a risk and try something different in order to get out of this room. So let's take a risk and move into renewal. So now things are becoming clearer. I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and I think it's going to be okay. I think it's going to actually be great. And people start feeling excited, playful, and appreciated here. And then, of course, they get to go back into the room of contentment until it all happens again. So those are the 4 rooms of change. And as we go through this product management culture shift, your teams will be in different places at different times. So just be aware of this. So back to the topic at hand, product management, and how do I get me some of that stuff? So product management has been around for a while. You've probably heard it called brand management in the past. And it's not magic, but we are taking people who haven't traditionally been in that role, and we're asking them to step into that role. And in order to do that, we need to provide them with some frameworks and formulas and help and maybe training and maybe even a community to help guide them into it. So speaking of frameworks, here's the HEART framework. And just so you know, it's one of many frameworks for product management, and it was developed by Google, and it was intended originally for UX products, but we can apply it to non-UX products as well. And what the HEART framework does is it helps a product manager articulate why their product exists and what value it has to the customer, and how they might assess that value and whether they're achieving it. I like to call the HEART framework a thinking framework. So it really helps the product manager think about the product from a perspective of what goals are they trying to achieve for each of the 5 flavors of the HEART framework, and then what signals out there in the world they might observe to know whether or not they're moving towards or away from those goals. And finally, what are the measures that we're trying to achieve to know whether or not we're meeting those goals or we're delivering the value that we intended. So before we go into the HEART framework, there's a couple things that we should know. The first thing is our product. So let's assume, though, that we all know our products. The second thing is our customers. For whom are we building the products for and why? So enter the persona. So the persona has a traditional definition, and then there's a product management definition. So what personas are is they're fictional characters that we develop to represent a group of our customers or a group of our potential customers, and they help us make decisions and guide us and the team to build features that those customers will love. Or if you just want to cut to the chase, it's a customer proxy. So the first example we're going to use here is the compliance product. Many of you might know that as PackBot, but really as part of our product decomposition, we expanded the definition of the product. But let's look at the persona. The first one we have is Harvey the Keybanger. So Harvey is a technical genius. He is a developer. He loves to build his product. He loves to deliver new capabilities to the business. But what Harvey doesn't love is having to deal with people or things like compliance. And what he also has a difficult time with is looking at the compliance tool and understanding whether or not he's compliant, and if not, what he really has to address versus things that aren't that important. So he would love to have a gold star on compliance, but because he can't understand what the tool is telling him, he just ignores it, and he tells his boss to do the same thing. So here's Fred, and he is Harvey's boss. And like I told you before, Harvey said, don't worry about that compliance score, just ignore it, we're good. So he just ignores it. But you know what? Fred would love to be able to brag to others about how great his team is doing in compliance. He'd even post it on Facebook, but he just can't understand what the tool is telling him either. So he does what Harvey says, and he just ignores it. And finally, there's Smithy. He is a CCOE boss, and he wants to drive compliance, and he just needs to be able to have a tool that he can go talk to customers about, that they can understand, and that will drive compliance throughout the organization. Finally, the HEART Framework Worksheet, and we're going to go over all of these examples here, but first I want to say a few things about it. Don't try to be perfect from the start. Here, perfect is the enemy of progress. Get something down and then iterate on it. It's okay. Another thing I want to warn you about is teams are going to be hesitant to declare their metrics. And why? Because they think it's a pass or a fail grade. They worry that if they don't meet the metric, that they're going to get a big fat F on their paper. And that's not what these are intended for. These are intended to provide insight and guidance into your product and whether your product is moving towards the goals that you set for it. And they're just to help us understand our product. And we can refine them over time. So now let's go through the compliance example. The first element is happiness, and the goal is for customers to trust and love the automatic remediations available to them. The signals are customers are increasing their use of one-click mitigations, and the metric we've agreed on is 100% of possible one-click mitigations are executed within 48 hours of the violation identification. So you can see how it maps from goal to signal to metric. The second item is engagement, and this is customer involvement with the product. So our goal is for customers to feel that the product accurately identifies issues they need to act on. And the signals are customers are reducing their critical violations quickly. And the metric we've agreed on is 0 critical violations greater than 48 hours old. The next element is adoption, and this measures how well the product is being adopted and used. And we've said for customers to start using the product and existing customers to start using it more. And our signals are usage of the tool is increasing. And the metric that we can use to measure this is increasing unique logins per month. Here we didn't set a bar, we just want to see it increase. The next element is retention, and this measures the stickiness of the product. And our goal is for customers to use the tool on a regular basis. And the signals are increasing logins to the product. And the metric is average number of logins per user will increase. So a little bit different than the adoption goal. Finally, our task success. It measures the success of the customers in achieving the goals with the product. So here we said, for the product to continue to increase its necessary compliance monitoring footprint. And our signal is policy coverage in the product is increasing. And our metric here is 100% of DSO automated coverage is implemented within 30 days of publication. So here, the persona we used was actually the DSO team, which is one we didn't go over. So you can see how all of these metrics map from goal to signals to metrics. So now we're going to go through another example, another product, and this one is a product that has nothing to do with software. This is the product management practice, or the CCOE productization across the team. And here we've taken people who were in different roles and put them in product management roles. So our first persona is Barry, the product manager. He really wants to be a product manager. He wants to do a great job. Yesterday he was a developer, today he's a product manager. And what he needs is he needs some support, he needs some training and some tools and some community to help him along this journey. And then we also have Smitty, the CCOE boss, and he really wants the team to understand the business value that they're delivering and focus on that. And he really wants to provide a lot of help and support to the team. He is a very supportive and transparent leader, and he is motivated by seeing the team progress towards this goal. So let's go through the HEART framework for the product management practice in CCOE. The first item is happiness, and the goal is that product managers are enthusiastic about becoming leaders in the product-focused transformation. The signals are the product managers are attending the weekly Lunch and Learn sessions, and the metric is attendance of 100% at the Lunch and Learn sessions. You can see again how that maps. For engagement, we said product managers think in terms of business value and driving their value stream. The signals that this is happening is that product managers are making product prioritization decisions based on business value and can talk to it. So key, they can talk to it. And the metrics are 100% of all work is tied to clear business value. Next, there's adoption, and we have product managers are using the tools to drive their practice. And the signals are that product managers are updating their foundational product definitions to stay relevant and provide clarity. And the metric is product managers are updating their product visions at least one time per quarter. For retention, we chose the goal of we create a community around the product management practice. And the signals are that product managers start identifying such and begin making contributions to the community. And the metric is one contribution from each product manager to the practice each quarter. And that contribution can be training, tool addition, support through Slack, etc. And now we have task success. And the goal is roadmap commitments are clear and accurately reflected in the tools. So here we elected to tie our metric here with our implementation of the new tool set. So our signal is that the JIRA Align roadmap view can be used by anyone to get an accurate view of the quarterly roadmap and the state of delivery of that roadmap. And our metric is no surprises. So this is a big value for us. All product changes and launches are discussed, coordinated, and communicated, and the team is ready to support the change before it happens. So this is something that we really wanted to accomplish here. So there you go. There is your leadership overview of the HEART framework. So the workshops that we're talking about doing across DSG are done by teams so that we can focus on one product at a time, and they are fully facilitated. They're one-day workshops, and the attendees should be product managers and leadership, because it's a combination of the two that will make this successful. You can't have a product manager trying to make this switch and the manager's not understanding or being in support of it, and vice versa. You can't have management saying go team and the product manager's not forging ahead either. The workshops are built around three basic deliverables. The first is product decomposition. And so we spend some time decomposing the product, and then we spend some time building some of the key personas or customers or potential customers for the product. And finally, we come up with an initial draft of the HEART metrics. All right, so that's the workshop. So I'm working with managers, senior managers, to get lists of attendees and arrange a date that we can do that. And so since this is a recording, the last one, the Q&A, doesn't really count, but if you do have questions, please feel free to contact me, Slack, email, phone, whatever, and I'd be glad to answer those for you. So thanks a lot for your attention, and we'll be seeing you in the workshops. Bye-bye.